I used to think Christmas was the one night my family could pretend to love me. I step up the driveway, arms full of gifts I spent 4 months making. Handcrafted jewelry, personalized pieces for each of them. I smile at the idea of their faces lighting up. I've rehearsed my little presentation in the car, in the mirror, even in the hallway. Tonight is going to be perfect. Tonight I belong. But as I round the corner to the study, I hear it. Name. Spoken in the coldest tone I've ever known. Ava is embarrassing us, my father says. This year we make her face the truth, publicly. My hand freezes on the doorknob. I don't move. The world tilts. 4 months of love, of effort, of hope. I can hear them laughing, plotting, turning my life into a show for 30 people. Adam laughs too. Adam, my brother, usually my safe harbor, chuckles as if this is all a joke. My stomach twists. Through the cracked door I see the PowerPoint open. Charts comparing my $35,000 freelance income to corporate salaries. Bullets detailing how my tiny business isn't really a business at all. My mother's voice cuts through, sharp and dismissive. Her little business is like macaroni art kids bring home from school. You smile, hang it on the fridge for a day, then throw it away. Even the words are designed to humiliate. Even the absurdity of it, the cold precision, the slides, the graphs, is part of the plan. And then they start talking about my room. My childhood sanctuary. The place where I grew up and dared to dream. They're packing it while I'm standing in the hallway, gifts in hand, pretending not to hear. Another betrayal. Double deep. I clutch the doorknob tighter. The rehearsal of my presentation, my careful work, my hope. It's all irrelevant here. They've scripted everything. My apology. The forced public confession of failure. The job offer at the family firm, designed to reduce me to an assistant role, controlled and small. They are orchestrating the complete dismantling of my self-worth. And then, my mother laughs again. Macaroni art. My father nods, satisfied. Adam snickers. The room is full of people who are supposed to love me, and instead, they are gleeful executioners. But something inside snaps. Not the despair I've felt 1,000 times before. Not the shame. Something else, clarity. Rage. Recognition. You're wrong, I think, gripping my gifts so hard my knuckles whiten. This Christmas, I finally learn who you are. I don't remember walking out. I don't remember steps or doors or the muffled shouts behind me. I'm only aware of the cold night, the blur of highway lights, the shaking of my own hands. I pull over to breathe, to process, to survive. And then the phone starts ringing. Repeatedly. For times before I pick up. My voice is calm, eerily so, even to me. Did you enjoy my gift? Silence on the other end. No one can match this stillness. No one can touch the new weight of quiet power I carry. For the first time in my life, I wasn't scared of them anymore. Every sensory detail, the crisp winter air, the shake in my hands, the distant hum of traffic, becomes a grounding point. Present tense keeps me alive in the moment. Past tense reflection reminds me I survived. The phrase macaroni art loops in my mind, not as shame, but as the absurdity I refuse to endure. Tonight, the Christmas I thought would break me becomes the night I wake up, Fairfield, Connecticut. The Jamesons were a brand long before they were a family. Iron gates, frosted glass, Christmas cards glossy enough to double as magazine covers. Everything about us screamed perfection. Perfection wasn't the goal. It was the bare minimum. Everyone whispered our name with admiration, some with envy. But no one ever asked what it cost to maintain that shine. Inside the house, love was conditional. Approval came with metrics. Problems weren't solved. They were edited out like inconvenient lines in a report. Pain wasn't acknowledged. It was inconvenient, and why Mother, Kimberly, curated our lives like social media feeds. Everything had to look right. If it looked right, it was right. Smiles were coached. Conversations redirected. Emotions that didn't fit the image. Ignored, redirected, or erased. My father, Robert, reduced the world to numbers. Income, promotions, rankings, GPA. If you couldn't quantify your worth, you didn't have any. He didn't raise children. He evaluated them. And then there were the golden children, Adam and Rachel. Carved straight from our parents' mold, Ivy League degrees, fast-track careers. They knew how to win approval, how to keep it, how to shine under the cold lights of expectation. And then there was me, a creative one, a polite euphemism for disappointment. I had traded the neat, quantifiable world my parents revered for a jewelry studio where value couldn't be measured on a spreadsheet. I worked with my hands, my imagination, my heart. I made things that mattered, just not to them. Christmas was the peak performance of the Jameson system. Towering white trees, gold-trimmed garlands, crystal ornaments that sparkled like they'd been imported from another world. The table could seat royalty. Every element color-coded, every detail choreographed by professional designers and meticulous schedules. Looked like warmth. It wasn't. Still, every year I hoped. This year I had poured 4 months into handcrafted gifts, each piece a quiet message. I see you. Remember. Care. Colors Mom once loved. Shapes my siblings doodled in school. Little memories woven into silver and beads. If I could just show them enough effort, maybe, just maybe, they'd see me that I arrived early, carrying gifts and optimism. Only kindness came from Rosa, the housekeeper, who squeezed my hand in quiet solidarity. Mother didn't look up from polishing a golden bauble. "Don't touch the tree," she said, voice sharp as ice. Rachel wrinkled her nose at the jewelry. "Jewelry again," she sniffed. And maybe later, spoken so often in the Jameson house, meant never. Then I noticed the suitcase. A stranger's suitcase, lying outside my old bedroom door. My belongings, shoved into plastic bins, the wall art stripped, the bookcase emptied. Like I'd never existed there at all. A pang of disbelief froze me. My family had meticulously erased my presence from the house I grew up in. I stepped closer, drawn to the sound of voices from my father's study. And then I heard it. My name, spoken sharply, coldly, without thinking. I moved toward the half-open door. That single step changed everything. Inside, they were already in motion, calculating my humiliation like a quarterly report. And in that moment, I understood. The Jameson family system wasn't broken. It was designed this way. And I'd spent my whole life trying to belong to a machine built to reject me. Inside the study, the Jamesons' plan unfolded with surgical precision. My father paced like a CEO rehearsing a quarterly presentation. "After the main course, I'll stand and address the table," he said, voice cold, measured. "Concern," he explained, "sells better than anger." Mother perched on the edge of a velvet chair, cue cards in hand, reading aloud each scripted word. Her hobby is embarrassing. Adam, my brother, who once helped photograph my pieces and promised he believed in me, revealed the charts he'd made. Average salary data, carefully plotted against my $35,000 freelance income. 4 years of work reduced to bullets and graphs. Rachel chimed in, flawless timing already mapped. Slide 2 during salad, slide 3 when the gravy's cooling. Perfect. They weren't angry. They were strategizing. This wasn't disappointment. It was precision cruelty. Every move calculated. Every moment designed to break me. After I crumbled, they had a so-called rescue waiting. A position at the family firm. Nothing demanding. Something safe. Something controlled, my father assured them. A leash disguised as help. Meanwhile, the room I had grown up in, my sanctuary, was slated for destruction. Staff would clear it during dinner, they planned, timing the strike while I was distracted and vulnerable. Leave no retreat. The horror of it, the combination of cold corporate logic and intimate betrayal, was unbearable. Then it happened. Mother's voice piercing through my mind. Her little business is like macaroni art kids bring home from school. Laughter erupted. Adam laughed. Adam, who once told me my pieces were beautiful, joined them. It was quiet devastation, like ice cracking beneath my feet. My heart thudded in disbelief. My world, all the effort, love, and care I had poured into making something of myself, reduced to a punchline for people who were supposed to protect me. This Christmas, she learns who she really is, my father concluded. And in that moment, clarity struck. You're wrong. Thought. This Christmas I finally learn who you are. I stopped being their daughter in that hallway. Whatever came next was someone new, someone they didn't own. I don't remember walking out. I only remember instinct. Hands shaking so violently I dropped my keys twice. The freezing night hit me like a shockwave. I drove blindly, the Christmas lights blurring in the rearview. A sickly imitation of warmth that had never belonged to me. I finally pulled into a rest stop on I-95, engine off. Silence pressed in, unbearable. Tears came fast, violent, the kind that choke you, fold you over yourself. I gripped my coat until my knuckles whitened. My phone rang. I ignored the first call, answered the second. "You sound like you're underwater," Mia said. And she let me drown in truth. Piece by piece I told her everything. The PowerPoint, the charts, the macaroni art, Adam's laughter. "Those monsters," she said without hesitation. She reminded me. I had turned down wholesale orders last month. I had a wait list for custom pieces. I wasn't failing. They were. And they were terrified I'd realize it. Her voice stayed with me on the drive home. "You're coming home. To your place. Not theirs." That night, a strange new feeling settled over me. Not relief, but resolve. I stopped begging for a family that didn't exist. I started choosing my own. For the first time I could feel it, agency, power. A fragile, trembling clarity that I would no longer be a participant in their strategy. I would write my own story on my own terms. And it began that Christmas night with a highway, a phone call, and the knowledge that I was finally free. Brooklyn wasn't Beverly Hills, wasn't marble floors or chandeliers. But it was mine. Every inch of this 2-bedroom walk-up had been paid for with my own hands, my own hours, my own sweat. Scuffed hardwood, clanking radiators, a faint smell of old coffee and candle wax. It wrapped around me like a blanket. Not just warmth but belonging. I kicked off my shoes, breathed deep, and let myself feel it. Nothing here had been judged, ranked, or molded by anyone else. It simply existed with me. I wandered over to the studio corner. A simple desk, gemstones scattered in trays, sketches splayed across the surface, half-packed orders waiting patiently. The tools were exactly where I had left them, bathed in soft yellow light. This was where I had built everything they had planned to destroy. And yet, it wasn't destruction I felt now. It was possibility. Then I noticed the wall. I had almost forgotten how full it had become. Magazine features praising craftsmanship, blog reviews calling my work thoughtful and intimate, photos of customers proudly wearing my pieces. Recognition I had never shown my family, because I had been taught to fear their laughter. My chest tightened. Somewhere along the way, I'd started believing recognition only counted if they gave it. Sat down hard on the couch. I realized how much power I had handed to people who never deserved item. Why phone buzzed. Subject line made my heart skip. Silver and Bloom, Spring Showcase Inquiry. One of the most respected mid-range jewelry brands. Known for discovering independence. They wanted my collection. Could triple my sales overnight. They wanted me without charts, without permission, without humiliation. My mouth fell open. I reread it 3 times, laughing and crying until my stomach ached. They thought my work was worthy. They thought I was worthy. I looked around. String lights draped across the window, a half-decorated mini tree leaning precariously, mismatched pillows on the couch. Flawed but mine. Quiet but honest. Small but real. Clarity struck. I hadn't failed. I had simply grown in a direction they never bothered to turn their heads toward. Maybe they were wrong about me. Maybe they had always been wrong. I spent the night on the kitchen floor, back against the cabinets, design notebook open to a blank page. Hands trembling then steadying. Not planning revenge, planning freedom. The 6-point plan took shape. Skip Christmas. No warning, no explanation. They would feel my absence the way I had felt their cruelty. Sharp and undeniable. Accept Silver and Bloom. That deal was mine alone. Let success be the loudest response, have my own Christmas, with people who loved me without conditions. Send the gifts anyway. Not from love but to prove cruelty couldn't change me. Set boundaries, respectful, honest, equal, or not at all. Reclaim my childhood belongings, legally. No more letting them decide what pieces of my life I was allowed to keep. Legal action felt oddly empowering. I called Ella Parker, a property and tenant rights lawyer. Send a certified letter. Timestamp. List everything. Photos, sketchbooks, childhood crafts, jewelry tools. Every last piece. I walked to the post office myself. My first act of self-defense. Before I could overthink it, Mia arrived. Messy hair, giant hoodie, 2 coffees, a bag of pastries. You look like you haven't eaten in 12 hours, she said, eyes scanning the chaos. I read her the list slowly, watching her expression shift. Eyes shining with something fierce, she said. Ava, this is power. We mapped out the Vermont plan. Mia's cousin's cabin, snow outside, fireplace crackling, quiet inside. Leave December 23rd. You're coming. End of discussion. I laughed, really laughed, for the first time since the betrayal. It wasn't relief exactly. It wasn't revenge. It was recognition. I wouldn't stand in the fire trying to prove I was worth loving. I would choose the people who already knew I was. And for the first time I felt entirely, wholly, unshakably free. December 24th, 6:59 p.m. I was loading the last of my bags into Mia's car. A thin layer of snow softened the Brooklyn streets, muffling footsteps, quieting the city. 4 hours earlier, Connecticut was alive with sparkling trees, crystal glasses, perfectly wrapped gifts. My empty space the only imperfection in that curated world. Now I was leaving it all behind. The calls began before we even pulled away. Mom, Adam, Rachel, Dad, all clamoring for my attention. Mia's hand on my shoulder, steadying, whispered, "Ignore them. We're leaving in 2 minutes." But I couldn't ignore the next call. "Where are you?" Mom's voice exploded through the speaker. No hello. No warmth. Just a demand. My chest tightened. And then, I did something that used to feel impossible. I said no. "I'm not coming." Not loudly. Not angrily. Just calmly. It felt like lifting a mountain. The weight of decades of fear and obligation finally moving off my shoulders. Fury surged through the line. "You were eavesdropping. You violated our privacy." "I was walking to my room," I said evenly. "A room you'd already emptied." "You misunderstood," she countered. "No," I said. "I finally understood." Her voice shifted, trying to sound concerned. "We were concerned about your future." "Concern." I laughed quietly, incredulous. Concern doesn't sound like laughter. Concern doesn't involve calling my work macaroni art. Concern doesn't require a PowerPoint. Silence. Then panic crept in. "But you have responsibilities to this family. Your father will be furious. There will be consequences." "I pay my own bills," I said. "You already took my room. I don't need a reputation in a family that doesn't want me." "You're throwing away Christmas," she said, voice shaking with desperation. "No," I replied firm. "I'm saving it." Hung up. Thumb hovered over the screen, heart pounding like it might burst. Tears slipped down my cheeks fast and hot. Mia squeezed my hand. "You okay?" "For the first time in my life," I whispered. I told her no. 4 hours later we arrived in Vermont. Wooden walls, warm light spilling through windows, smoke curling lazily from the chimney. Nothing fancy, nothing curated. Just real. Noah was at the door with hot chocolate. Claire waved a pie that smelled like cinnamon and comfort. Ryan and Caleb balanced groceries and tangled decorations. I stopped short, taking it all in. Mia sent one message. "That was enough," Claire said, grinning. "You didn't think we'd let you spend Christmas alone after what your family did, right?" Noah added. Mia leaned back, satisfied. "See, some families are chosen." The night unfolded in chaos and laughter. We cooked together, burned one dish, salvaged another. No schedules, no judgments, just warmth. Ryan reminded me, "Your pieces sold out in my store last weekend." People love your work. Caleb added. My sister won't take off the necklace you made her. For the first time, I noticed how rare unforced smiles had become in my life. Later, we opened a wooden box of blank ornaments and paints. Each of us created one for our year. I painted a bird escaping an open cage. Gold wings, midnight blue tail. No one asked what it meant. They understood why phone buzzed beside the fire. Messages from extended family trickled in. Aunt Meredith. I heard what they planned. I'm ashamed of your parents. Your gift is beautiful. I'm proud of you. Cousin Lily. Your necklace made me cry. We had no idea how successful you've become. Grandmother Eleanor. I do not approve of what happened at all. Call me when you can, darling. And thank you for the bracelet. It's exquisite. The truth was burning through the perfect facade back home. The cracks were spreading. Snow fell heavily outside. Fire dimmed low. Noah raised his glass. To Ava for choosing herself this Christmas. Voice shaking, I echoed back. For the first time, I feel like I'm spending Christmas somewhere I belong. And in that moment, I understood. I hadn't lost a family that night. I had found 1.6 weeks later. I stand in the middle of my new studio, a converted warehouse with enormous windows flooding the space with golden light. Polished concrete floors gleam beneath my feet. The smell of fresh lumber mingles with the faint scent of metal and gemstones. My life barely resembles the one they tried to dismantle. The space is mostly empty, but not for long. Workbenches are arriving, tools are being installed, and soon hands other than mine will create here. I've hired 2 part-time assistants to help manage silver and bloom orders. What started as a feature in their spring showcase became a spotlight campaign. Orders exploded, a real production workflow emerged. And I watched something fragile become solid. The success feels real because it was built quietly, intentionally, on my terms. Messages from family arrive, each one revealing who I am to them now. Adam texts. I was wrong about a lot. Can we talk sometime? No pressure. I reply. Maybe when I'm ready. But thank you. Not a wall, I think, but a boundary. Grandmother Eleanor sends photos wearing one of my bracelets to her luncheon. Everyone adored it, she writes. She invites me to visit London. Validation from someone who always mattered. My father emails a spreadsheet, unsolicited, analyzing my financial trajectory, and implying my success is temporary without a corporate role. I respond politely but firmly. Thank you for your concern. I'm proud of what I'm building, and I'm doing well. I won't be discussing career changes. No explanations. No justifications. Mother sends a demand for apology. Your absence at Christmas caused unnecessary tension. It would be nice if you apologized. I don't respond. Some messages don't deserve answers. 2 weeks later, with Mia by my side, I return to the mansion to reclaim my childhood belongings. Rosa, quietly heroic, has packed my sketchbooks, first pliers and wire cutters, and even a half-finished beaded bracelet from age 11. Hugging me, she whispers, "Your mother tried to donate your tools. Hid them. I knew they mattered." I leave the mansion gently, no grief, no slamming doors. Closure, not chaos. That night, Mia texts, "Cabin next Christmas. Tradition starts now." I smile, reply, "Every year. I'll bring the ornaments." Back in the studio, I mount my childhood tools above the new workbench. Old and new, past and future, side by side. A visual reminder that every piece of me, the girl who dreamed, the woman who built, exists in continuity. I take a step back, surveying the space. The girl who begged to be seen is gone. The woman who chooses who belongs has arrived. Christmas didn't break me. It revealed me. I'm never going back to the version of myself who begged to be loved. Light pours through the windows, catching on gemstones and metal. My assistants chatter in the background, arranging trays and preparing orders. Outside, Brooklyn hums quietly. Inside, my world hums with potential, freedom, and purpose. For the first time, everything feels mine. Every choice, every success, every boundary. Claimed, intentional, unstoppable. The past no longer holds power over me. My family's cruelty is a story I survived, a lesson I learned, and a fire I no longer need to stand within. I glance at the wall of mounted tools again. They are more than objects. They are proof. Proof that what I create, who I am, and how I move forward is my decision, and mine alone. And so I begin, fully, without hesitation. No fear. No apology. No compromise. Just light flooding the studio, the tools above my workbench, and a future expanding before me. I'm free. Finally, thank you so much for watching. Please leave your feedback in the comments and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next story.